All right, guys, so today another case-by-case selection video. This is 66 cases. It's throughout the warehouse, multiple aisles, a lot of traveling on this order. If you're new to these, I do select backwards on the pallet so you guys can see more because I tend to build up the front of my pallet more. So typically I would not build like this. I would build from the part where my forks are at, back. Right now, when I have an order that starts in the middle like this, meaning that we're not starting at a starting point in the warehouse where there's cans or there's something where you're going to get a nice base. When you start in the middle and I know I'm going through the warehouse, I don't know what I'm getting. So the bigger cases I will place, and the smaller cases I will just randomly throw them in places and place them at a later time. Also, if you're new, all the thumbs up that you're seeing are to block people out in the warehouse. Uh, Hershey syrups, you get two of them. I like to keep them together. It's a nice back corner, well, front corner on this. A nice corner piece to make sure that my base is going to be nice and sturdy on that side of the pallet. Grabbing some 2 liters. If you guys want to subscribe to the channel, I'd appreciate it. If you're not a subscriber, leave comments. Join Discord by clicking that link in the description below. Yeah, like I said, right now I'm just trying to establish some cases that are going to form a base. Not quite sure what I have coming up here. And I have other selectors around me too, so I'm not trying to spend too much time because I don't want to hold them up as well. All right, this case I put down and I noticed that it's hanging off the side of the pallet. I do not like cases hanging off the side of my pallet, so I just turn it and that solves that problem. If a case is hanging off the side of the pallet too much, then just move it. Now right there, that small case, I said before that people get so tied up, they want to fill in their entire layer before they move on to the next layer. While me, if a case is not going to fit on that layer, I just immediately go to the next layer. I'll start building another layer. I'm not going to force cases where they don't need to go. Now right here, it says fixed pallet when held up. I got a guy right in front of me. He's throwing multiples. He got a quantity, so don't sit there and stare at the person. If your pallet is not to your likings, that's the time that you take the, to organize your pallet while you're waiting. You're waiting anyhow. You might as well utilize your time and fix your pallet up a little bit. So now I'm going to be leaving this aisle and I'm going to be going over to another aisle. You're going to see me get frustrated during this order. Multiple things. One, I'm tired. Two, it's very hot in this warehouse. It's probably pushing 100 degrees with the humidity. It is just very hot and sticky. And if you guys work in dry goods, you know what I'm talking about. It's not fun to work in these hot warehouses. And I'm trying to get past selectors. There's a lot of new selectors in our warehouse. And anytime I try to hit up one of those new selectors, I really try to move past them. So right here, I'm driving past this person. Now that case slipped out of I did not throw that case. The case, I fumbled it and it went flying and I got mad and I'm like, all right, whatever. Then I start grabbing wrong cases. It's just getting irritated here. And I hate walking. I really do not like walking back and forth. I was hoping just to have maybe one case and then scoot past this person. And I kept needing cases and I kept grabbing the wrong case because I'm trying to hurry up to get past this person. It is what it is. Yeah, not every day's a peachy day. You get irritated sometimes. Yeah, when you have, and I don't mean to leave that case there, I'm going to grab it right now. It's just when you're around senior selectors, they have proper etiquette. You tend to work together. When you're around a new selector, they're not familiar with the, just working with each other. They hug the rack and There's no room and you can't get in there to get a pallet that's next to them or a case that's next to them. It's just the way it is sometimes. Luckily, this is a big warehouse and you tend to lose people sometimes. Now, my two corners there on each side, you see me throwing those red cases on the one side, and then I got the other side left open. There's only two things that I really like to stick on my corners. That's either another big case or a bunch of small cases that's going to equal a big case. You know what I mean? So if you have a bunch of the same cases that are going to equal a corner, a nice corner, then I would like to do so. Now, I'm waiting. I got people coming out of the next aisle, high lift. I got to try to get over there. I want you guys to watch the jack in the background there. All right, so I want to explain something. As soon as my thumb disappears here. Now he's backing out of the yow. All right, I want to say this is that he's backing out of the yow. If you are a new selector, I highly recommend not doing that until you get comfortable with your equipment. I know it's a pain in the butt because you would have to drive all the way down the aisle and all the way down another aisle, and you're going to waste time that way. But when you're a new selector, your times aren't really counting that much. You're getting to learn the equipment and things of that nature. I don't recommend backing up for two reasons. One, you could hit somebody if you're not comfortable with that jack. And if you panic, you're going to hurry up and jerk that jack to try to stop it. And you have a really good chance of dropping your pallet over. So right there, I took those three cases and I formed a corner and I pushed the other case up against it to just try to keep that corner from moving around, which it doesn't work out, as you'll see, because when I leave this aisle, I have to drive past like 6 aisles and my pallet starts shaking around and I'm going to start losing cases. You'll see that coming up here, and I have to keep, picking up these cases, getting to my next destination in the other aisle. So right here, just trying to keep moving, guys. That's the name of this game, is progression, progression, progression. You do not want to get tied up on maneuvering cases around. If you have a case in your hand and you're looking at your pallet and you have nowhere to put that case, just drop it somewhere and deal with it later. Do not get tied up on one case for too long. I have a few more cases in this aisle that I'm going to be skipping over, about 6 aisles to go to the far side of the warehouse. You could already see those red cases are moving, so I'll do my best to try to keep them together. But once again, I don't know where I'm going. I know now, after I selected the order, that I go over to the far end of the warehouse, but I don't know where I'm going. When you have these small orders like this, when the stores don't order a lot, you could be going anywhere in the warehouse. So I have no idea what I'm coming up on. So right here, I'm going to be leaving this aisle, and this is where you're going to see all my stuff start shaking around. This is not a smooth jack by any means. And right there, I already lost a couple cases, so I'm going to go back and pick them up. And hopefully make it a lot further so I can get to my next pick slot. But I don't make it too far. They fall off again. You could already see everything shaking around. So once again, guys, when you are traveling through the warehouse and you have a small order like this and you're bouncing around, don't just be oblivious to your cases bouncing around. Keep checking back. Keep looking back and keep seeing if you're losing product. If you lose a case, stop your jack and go get the case. Why am I not wrapping this? Because it would really ruin my pallet. I don't have a full case or a full layer. And if I wrap it, it's just going to screw up the rest of my pallet because I'm going to constrict everything to the middle of the pallet, and it's just not going to give me that full cube that I need. Now right here, I lost a case again. I'm almost at my pick slot, and I'm going to slam this case. No, I'm not. It is what it is. When I get to this next pick, now I have 2 aisles left in this warehouse. Okay, I'm almost at the end of the warehouse. So I know I'm not going much further. So I'm going to take 10 seconds right now, and I'm going to get my pallet back to the way it was. Okay, so I'm going to get it right back to the way it was and fill in this layer. I knew how I had everything. I'm putting everything back the same way. Do it as quick as possible. I'm not traveling that much anymore, so I'm at the end. I'm going to put this case in a different spot, and now we're going to keep moving. Got to keep moving. Try to keep my corners higher than my insides. And the red cases, even though they're not higher than that inside, it's a nice level area where I could put a case there, like I'm going to right here. Now I got my lower inside again. The only thing that I probably would have done a little different is I probably would have slid that Hershey's on the bottom middle. Probably would have slid that over just a little bit. I like the space out cases on the bottom. I'm actually kind of surprised I didn't do that. I mean, not that it made a big deal, but I probably would have liked to have spread that Hershey's out because it would have made the gap smaller that you see over there in between the white case and the Hershey's. Now right here, I got two lower spots in the middle. I know I have small cases coming up. All right, that brown case and that white case that are in the middle there. Now my next goal is to try to get a case on top of the brown case to meet the big case on the corner with the pink lettering. And I'm going to try to get a case on top of the white case to meet the tall case that's on the corner. I do not want them higher. I want them lower. So I'm going to either try to meet or get lower to fill in that front. I'm not just going to throw any old case there. I'm waiting for my case. Now right here, I'm going to wrap because I got a full layer. And I'm going to go around the middle of the pallet one time. I'm not wrapping the bottom layer. I'm not wrapping the top layer. I am not mummifying this pallet. I don't even care if this was 5 feet. If I had a 5-foot pallet and I had one layer giving me a problem, that's the layer I'm wrapping. That's all you need to wrap. You do not, especially if you have wrap machines, you do not need to wrap everything. Just the problem layer and keep moving. Now, there's only about 4 minutes left on this order, so I'm getting close to the end. So, yeah, little cases, just filling in gaps in the middle. That's all I do. Fill the gaps in with all the smaller, real small cases. Here, right there, I got a case to match up with that. There, it's close enough where if I put a case on there, it's not going to dip in too much. It's exactly what I was looking for. And then my very next case, I got some baby food, and it works out perfect. That's what I look for in the middle. Now I'm just going to keep progressing with the rest of that layer. You know, the last thing I want to do is put a high case in the middle of that pallet because then I'd have to play catch up with my corners again. And this is when it's important to say how much more. If I say how much more and I have 15 cases left, well, then the placement doesn't become as important. It's very important whenever you're getting towards the end. When you know you're getting towards the end of your order to say how much more. I always say if you have like 20 or less cases, the case placement becomes less important. It's about topping your pallets off and just finishing that order. Yeah, if you guys want to send me any of your pictures or anything on Discord, you could private message me over there and I will put your stuff on a future video. I could do a breakdown of your pallet, or if you're allowed to film yourself in the warehouse, if you guys are up to doing that, I will do a video breakdown of your pallet if you send it to me on Discord. So right here, once I establish a base, I get right back to the basics, pointing cases towards the middle with the smaller cases in the middle. I got these Roman noodles. I'm not spreading them all over the layer because I know my next out is bounties and all that bubble wrap. So I'm going to try to stack these up the front and save the back of my palette for the bubble wrap. It's the bounty, toilet paper, Charmin, stuff of that nature. You're going to see right here, which I only have a few cases in this out, then I'm done. But see how that one wrap around that layer, that problem layer, that's all I needed. The top of that is not moving. I just put some speed on the jack right there and you saw none of that stuff moved. Just wrap right around the problem layer. Yeah, I'm just topping my palette off with these few bounties. And a few more seconds here, we'll finish this off. See, I'm just throwing cases on. I'm to the end. Placement is not that important, especially when you're trying to make time or bank time, whatever. You just throw them, guys. If you have 5 cases left, why are you sitting there playing around with the cases? Just put them on your jack and be done with it. So those are my last 2 cases right there. And that is the end of the video. So guys, I'm going to show you 2 pictures real quick. This one right here is the front of that palette finished. Like I said, once I establish a base, I got my arrows pointing in. I start doing the same. I don't care if you look at my dairy selection palettes or my dry goods, maybe not so much produce because the cases are bigger, but once I establish that base, I get right back to the basics. Cases pointing in with smaller cases stacked up the middle because I know that cases pointing towards the middle of that palette is the sturdiest way to build that palette. Here's the back of my palette. Now I got an arrow pointing to this case over here is because I tell you, whenever you wrap layers, if it's not a full layer, which I thought I had a full layer by watching the video, but I did not, I constricted that layer in. That's why that case is hanging over the side. That's why I do not like people that wrap their whole palette. Now picture if I had 4 layers of stuff and now I constrict the palette. I just squeezed all that in. Now I'm building this long or tall, skinny palette and you're taking away cube. That's why it's real important just to wrap the layer that's the problem layer and keep moving on. So that's it for today, guys. I got more of these coming out, quite a few of them actually. I'm going to have quite a few of them coming out. So if you like these case by cases, stay tuned because they're coming out. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.